Welcome back to Investing and Trading Live. My name is Josh Lilquist. For those of you that check out the show every single week, thank you for listening on the radio waves. If you do miss part of that, make sure to check out the podcast. We do a show every single day on the podcast, Investing and Trading Live, on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. But also, we do this live as we are doing this today. And check out the YouTube stream, which is live. Just go to Josh Lilquist on YouTube and check out some of the outtakes of the show. But we do appreciate all the listeners. Smash that like button and subscribe button and get notified every time we do a show. So in the last segment, we had a lot of good discussion, a good debate on the last one, about what they do not teach in school, and finances and trading and investing would be one of them. And we got in a good discussion about that. And we had a lot of people texting in for that investing class here locally. Hands-on, local place to learn about the markets. You know, if you're new to the markets or if you've been in the markets and looking for different strategies, just text the word investing to the number 210-210 right now for 2 seats. Text investing to the number 210-210 for 2 seats. You'll get a text right back. It'll say, welcome to Investing and Trading Live, with a link to pick your own date. We'll also get you a call to make sure you find the date and our location. We're right off 494 in Bloomington. Real easy to get to. Boy, we've been seeing people come. I've had people come all the way from Hibbing recently to take this investing class. We get people from Iowa. We get people from North Dakota. We get a lot of people from Wisconsin. So a great area it's kind of a centralized area for all our locations as far as the different states and stuff. So it's been great seeing a lot of different people come into these classes. Text investing to the number 210-210 right now for 2 seats. So, Al, in this segment here, I want to talk about a couple different things. You have your income bucket and you have your wealth bucket. Your income would be your cash flow, right? That would be your cash flow to live off of.
Right.
And I'm going to say this backwards, what most people say. I'm going to say for fun and your bills. But people are conditioned to live to work. I want to change that and flip that for people. Why don't we work so we can live, have some fun in life? That's what it's all about. But people are just working hours after hours after hours, and they don't have time with their family. They're missing out on sports with their kids. We got school starting up again. We got football games starting up and practices. My kid's playing, gosh, I think 4 days a week he's got a sport or something going on, and it's like, I don't want to miss that.
I didn't even know he could crawl yet. He's that old.
Yes,
My
he is
gosh.
that old. He is in first grade now. Like, I mean, look at how the time goes. But you know what, Al? That just means
Scary.
That just means you're getting older.
No, I stopped aging a while ago. I decided I'm not going to let that happen to me.
Got it. Okay.
In fact, I'm starting to count backwards.
If you want to check this out, check out the YouTube and really see what's going on here.
Oh.
But I still haven't aged. I still look like Brad Pitt.
That's because the picture of Brad Pitt is still on your mirror.
Hey, will always
How's that
be
lawsuit coming, by the way?
It'll always be there. All right. So, anyways, enough fun and games. Let's talk more about the markets and income strategy. So, you look at these stocks, Al. You look at, we'll say, Apple. Apple is at $177 per share. By the way, big gap down on Thursday,
That's right.
which was a great opportunity getting into a demand zone, but shot straight up from that.
Yeah, Apple will not close their doors in the near future.
You wouldn't think so. Tesla, same thing, gapping down but showing strength right away. But people want to get into these stocks because they're high-fly stocks. They're household names. And everybody wants to get into them, but they're just a little expensive for people.
Right.
Now, one of the things that we're taught to do is go buy stocks, okay? One of the things we're not taught how to do is why not do something a little bit differently and use options on those stocks, because you can get options. If you do options on stock, you can buy that stock at a discount.
Yeah.
I want you to talk a little bit about that and why that's a little bit different and why you don't hear that, but what are some of the opportunities us as the public can do so you're not doing what everybody else is trying to do?
Yeah, well, you mentioned income and wealth. There's 2 components to your financial life. It's the income component, which is kind of the asset gathering part. Anybody that's working, that's where you are. You're gathering assets to pay those bills. Josh mentioned fund and bills in that order. And unfortunately, the reality is that people do the bills first and then might not have enough left over to have any
As
fun.
my good friend always says,
It's another good friend of yours. But the problem is that a lot of people are living paycheck to paycheck now. Inflation has had a huge impact on the way people live. But if you're looking at income and wealth, the problem is, and this is what would concern me about having people in schools that are not well experienced teaching education, financial education. The Wall Street education and the type of education most people have access to really is geared towards one of those two. It's not the income, it's the wealth portion, but for most people they don't have enough income to put into a wealth bucket, so it really ends up hurting them.
But if you think about it, it's just concept, because there's two different things. I mean, right now we're on the radio.
Yep.
We're on podcasts. We're on YouTube. We're talking about concept because we can't physically teach you how to do this over the airwaves. And that's the same concept as how they teach it. They teach concept, but not the action to do it. And that's why we have the physical classes.
Yeah,
here.
And there's a different way of approaching the markets. And when we talk about the markets, we're not just talking about the stock market. We're talking about stock. We're talking about options, futures, forex, crypto, real estate. Those are all part of a big overall financial market. But the way you approach the markets for income is different than the way you do for wealth. You can't just have one strategy that is the most optimum for both income and wealth. And you mentioned Apple, you mentioned Tesla. Those are high-priced stocks. And so that keeps a lot of people out of the market. There's a way of you to benefit from Apple and Tesla for maybe a couple $100.
So that's with options. Explain how that works.
Yeah, options it's a contract that you trade on something. You could do it on a stock. You could do it on the stock markets in general using indexes, using an ETF. You can do it on futures contracts and forex contracts. A typical option contract, well, not typical, all of them, one option contract controls the movement of 100 shares of the underlying stock. The great thing about them is that options can be used in up markets, down markets, sideways markets, but you can use them in a way where you significantly reduce risk and increase profit. I mean, what a great combination.
A lot of people are saying, well, why can you do that? How come you can? It's because you can.
Because you can.
It's the market.
Right.
And
now,
there's the options. It's designed for that.
Yeah. And I would say, again, for stocks are more for wealth, more for building wealth. And not for income, not for short-term income.
But change that, though, because people are taught just to buy and hold stocks. But if nobody's building wealth that way, you might need to use your capital efficiently.
Correct. And one of the important components that you need to learn if you want to create wealth, is to know how to manage a portfolio. If you're looking at putting a stock portfolio together, the worst thing you can do, I shouldn't say the worst thing you can do, but what you shouldn't do is put a portfolio together and then just put it on cruise control and expect it to work for you.
Which means just let it sit there.
Just letting it sit there, which most people do.
Because you have time on your hands, because that's what you're told. You're talking about where you're getting your information from, who's telling you that. It's what you're told to do, and there's reasons why they do that.
Right. Well, look at the typical 401k. Most people, if you ask them what's in their 401k, they don't know. They don't remember, even though they made the choice in the first place, but they basically put it on cruise control. That's one of the reasons we have a retirement crisis in this world. Mm-hmm. You can manage assets. You can put a portfolio of stocks together and increase the returns, have the potential to increase the returns, the potential to not go through crashes or corrections or drawdowns. You can use options as protection. But it's a great strategy that allows you to use what's typically a long-term wealth creator, which is stocks. You can use options on them to create short-term income.
And be more efficient with that.
Much more efficient, and be able to participate not just in one direction, but all three directions that the market goes. Look, if you're only investing, and this is the typical public, the retail trader, they're typically investing only in what will benefit them in one direction, and that's an upward movement in the stock market or the financial markets. Mm-hmm. If you're only doing that, half of your life is wasted. In other words, if you have, let's say you've got a 40-year investment horizon, if 20 years of that time period the market is down or sideways and you're either losing money or not making any money, that's 20 years of lost time.
And that, my friends, is why people don't have enough to retire. And that's the problem, is because they're missing out on that time. You don't have time to let it grow and time to let it come back and all that stuff. Now is the time to learn the strategies for up, but also down, so you're not missing out on that time that you lost with those markets where you're not earning a profit. Are you going to always have profits no matter what? No, nobody will. But it's consistent gains is what you need to get out of the markets. It's consistency.
That's an
in the
important word,
financial
is
markets.
consistency.
That's this consistency is how we train our students with our strategy. And this is a strategy we've been doing for over 26 years now. And these strategies that were concepts that we're talking about, they're not new. They're just a little bit different. And that's what they do not teach you in school. Come to one of these investing classes and we can show you how that works, hands-on, physical place to go to learn about the markets. Text investing to the number 210. 210 right now for 2 seats for this investing class. You'll get 2 seats. Also, when you do that, you're going to receive something. I'm going to give away that jumbo pack again. There's some techniques on how to get started right away, but also some stock picks to help you see what that looks like. Text investing to the number 210, 210. Al, since you were talking a lot about the wealth strategy there with options, let's talk a little more income strategies coming up next, but also our instructors, our mentors that are guiding. Where do they come from and how do they train people how to trade and invest? We will be right back.